is where we are going to stay. Yeah.
Cool.
Hmm?
The next question is, what was the response of Kittycraft to the Lego brick that was derived from their product? Did they respond at all on how they started producing bricks?
So the thing is that whenever we started to go abroad with our products, also setting up the sales company in Germany and everywhere we went, we always asked patent agents to take a look at that market and see, are we violating any patents if we do this and if we introduce this? So that was always the case. We would never go into a market violating a patent that was already existing. So that is exactly what also happens when we in the late 50s go into the British market. That is that we have these agents and they come back and we can see, okay, we have this of course Kittycraft manufacturer that we also know about at that point in time, and I'm not quite sure, but I believe that they actually do not produce that plastic brick anymore because they couldn't really get a success out of it in Britain, but they did have a patent for it. So we do have contact. I can't remember who contacts who, but we do have contact, and we make an agreement with Kittycraft so that we also can sell our brick in, and we sort of get to an agreement there. Exactly how and when and so on is a little bit more tricky to establish, but we know that we did that, and again that was for all countries that was going on, and they did not have a patent for the Kittycraft brick in Denmark. But they did in the UK, of course, where they were based. So it depends also on countries. Yeah.
So the next question is about the plastic cars.
Yeah.
And it's actually a question about the scale of 1 to 87 plastic cars.
Yeah. It sounds like someone knows a little bit more about those cars than I do, because I know about the scale, but it is. I'm not sure I can say much about that, but what I can say about these beautiful, I'm pretty sure this is the cars that are in question. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So well, just look at them. They are so beautiful, right? They are awesome, and yes, they are in some kind of scale, and actually the bigger ones below them are also in a scale of the real thing. I can't remember if it's 1 to 20 or 1 to 10 or what it is. It's something like that. And so there is a scale also here, but it's and that's also why they fit quite well in the town plan, in size at least, with the bricks and the buildings you could make out of bricks, so that they, in that sense, they fit the system. But then again, not quite, because they are not made out of elements themselves, right? They're not made out of Lego bricks, because we couldn't do that at that point in time, because we still hadn't invented the Lego wheel. So we couldn't, get our creations out of bricks to move. But that is something we're going to talk about next time, because that happens in the early 60s. But we did have those, and these small cars are some of the only other plastic products that actually survived that decision for a couple of years after making that decision in 1960 to say we from now on focus completely on the Lego brick and the Lego system. But we kept these cars because they were a part of this town plan that we still also had back then for a couple of years after that. And then when we introduced the wheel, they start to disappear as well. I hope that sort of answered some of the question at least. Yeah.
That's cool. So does the wheels actually fit the Lego wheels today? When we started inventing wheels, did they have the same scale now?
No. These are much smaller than the wheels.
Ferguson tractor either.
No, not to my recollection. Yeah.
In the system.
No, not yet. Yeah.
So the next question is using the animated video.
Yeah.
Of the Lego story.
Yeah.
And at a point, Godfrey, he gets inspired by a pen, and then he designs the tubes.
Yeah. That's.
Is it a real story?
No, it isn't. That's a funny gimmick. made up because there should be a little bit of fun in there, and it's the same that I don't know if you've seen it, but in the same sequence there's also a truck driving up outside the window of the office where he's sitting, and it says something in Danish, and it stops right so that what it says in Danish spell in the window spells Lego, and that wasn't how he came up with the name either. But it's just sort of a funny little Easter eggs we put in there to to make a little bit of fun. But no, it hasn't anything to do with the pen sticking together with the knobs. Yeah.
For the first patent, what was the color? The color of red that we used in those days, was that patented as well? And why did we end up using red for the color on the logo?
Yeah.
I was thinking you could just look over here and you can look at the logo.
Yes. So we have some beautiful logos here. This one is one of the ones from the late 50s. To my knowledge, we don't. The patent doesn't say anything about colors. It's all about how bricks interact with each other and these tubes and how they grab around the knob. So I don't think the patent says anything about colors, but it is true that for many years, as we can see here, we start to see these colors that our logo today is also comprised of. We have the red, we have the white, black, and yellow. But especially the red background and the white letters is something we've had very early on from the early 50s. I believe in 53 we introduced a red oval, which is the first time we have sort of that color in the background. And I believe, and again, it's difficult to remember, but I think it has to do with the fact that it really looked great on packaging. That it really popped up when putting a logo on different colors of packaging. You had this red background and the white letters, and that was really looked great. That's as close as I can get to that. I think. I hope it makes sense.
Yeah. So the next question is were the first sets sold as specific objects, as in a house, a fire station, and box, and then you could buy boxes with an assortment of various bricks? As in, was it specific things, or was it more of an assortment of things?
Yeah, at first it was basically the first boxes we have, the automatic binding bricks, the Lego Mursten boxes, and so on. That was very much like you would consider, Lego Classic today, and which is also something that has been called basic over the years. That you get a box of bricks, a big assortment of bricks, and then there are some suggestions of what you can create with those bricks. You can build whatever you want, but the more specific branded products, that is something that starts to come with the town plan and the introduction here. So that I mentioned that if you wanted to add a gas station for your town plan, then you could actually buy a set where you knew there was a photo of a gas station right there, and then you could actually make that specific model out of the elements. You could of course also choose to build whatever you want to out of your bricks. That is always a choice you have, and that's why I love Lego bricks. You always have that choice, but these specific models start to enter the market in the mid-50s onwards.
Cool. I think I have another question here.
Yeah.
Were the Lego bricks and system in play marketed to all children, teenagers, small children, boys, girls? How's the age groups, and how's the
Yeah. So I don't think we had just a sort of I think we sort of just had these bricks that we felt everybody, no matter the age of the child or gender of the child, they would love playing with these bricks. So it was a very broad marketing, if you could call it that, back then. It's difficult because it was of course very different from today and how you do things today, right? But that was sort of the idea that it was for everyone. Yeah.
And then I have a last question, and it's actually about the fourth fire.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Do you know what started it?
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. It was something inside the building. So I know we've had, a lightning, and we've had something outside the building from some of the other fires. But this was actually, it was, I can't remember exactly, but it was something, a boiler of some kind that had some hot liquid in it that you used for whatever production of something, and that sort of overheated. And then, unfortunately, that happened after, people left work for that day. So if it maybe had happened, an hour or two before, then someone would have seen it right away and done something. But because everybody had left for to go home, it overheated, and then it sort of broke into a fire. That was not the best answer in the world, but that's as much as I can remember of this. Yeah.
I think it was a very honest answer.
Yes. So cool.
Yeah.
So I think that was what we have time for. So I just want to say a huge thank you for tuning in. I hope that you enjoyed this as much as I did, and I hope that you will join me for the next session where we move on in our little history quest here. So thank you so much for listening.
And to end this tour, I need to tell you that we will run the next session on July 9th. And this time we're going to focus on expanding the LEGO system and play it. And that's the period from 1962 to 1978. Maybe we'll see the minifigure. We hope so. So you need to sign up for this session as well if you want to join us. But there should be room for you guys to come in here. Thank you very much for joining us on this LEGO House live session in the History Collection. Keep on building out there and have a fantastic, awesome day.